Welcome to Business Over a Brew, the show where we talk business with some of the Riverbend's most interesting and influential business people, all while enjoying a nice brew at the Great Rivers Tap and Grill inside the Best Western Premier Hotel in Alton. Today, we'll talk with John Hentrich, President and CEO of Riverbender.com. He'll tell us about how he started his very first business while he was still in high school and how he's been an entrepreneur ever since. So let's get to it. It's the Business Over a Brew podcast from the Great Rivers Tap and Grill in Alton. Welcome to Business Over a Brew. Pleased to be joined in this episode by John Hentrich with Riverbender.com and the Riverbender Community Center. John, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me, Nick.
No problem.
Good to be here.
Let's start here. Just tell us a little bit about how Riverbender.com started.
Well, I don't know. Let's see. It's been so long ago, it's hard to remember how we get rolling. Riverbender's been around for 13 years, I guess, I think is about where we were. And really the mission of the business and getting started was trying to provide affordable advertising to local area businesses and try to put a positive spotlight on the community, kind of show off the good things that we had going on in town so that we would attract families and try to do anything we could to kind of get things rolling as best we could. I felt like after moving back home from Chicago, I kind of felt like I went from about 100 miles an hour down to like 35, and you're looking around and it just didn't seem like there was a lot going on. So everything we could do to try to breathe life into the community as much as we could, that's what I wanted to do.
So you grew up here in the area?
I grew up in Alton, went to Marquette and off to Bradley University, and then to Chicago with my first job out of college.
What did you go to college for? Was
Business
it
computer systems.
Okay.
Yeah, been a computer
That was a good major
nerd
to
all
choose.
my life.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah. And,
so what was your
also
first
kind of
computer?
Texas Instruments TI 99 4A, I think is what they called it. Yes, it was.
Had a lot of capabilities, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You could type on it.
You could type on it, and that was about it. But I think early on, I've always had a love for computers. Like to write software. The internet I became very fascinated with real early on. I was trying to think on the way over here. I think we started the first internet business in 1995. So that's, my math's not good, 24 years ago or something like that. And even before that, I had a software company that I started in high school. So I kind of always been a computer guy. So I got to go back to that software company in high school. What type of software was it? What did it do? It's kind of funny. I had a really good friend in high school. His grandpa was a chiropractor, and so we wrote software to run a chiropractic office. And the two of us would run with his grandpa and sell this software to area chiropractic offices and do the installation and do all that kind of stuff. So it was really a blast.
So when you were in high school, I'm guessing there probably weren't a great deal of computer classes going on, at least not teaching you to develop your own software company. Were you totally self-taught?
We didn't have much for computer classes at all. We went to Lewis and Clark while we were in high school. I remember crummy Texas Instrument, or what were they? Some crummy black and white screen or amber screen computer out of Lewis and Clark, and we did the punch cards. If you probably don't remember them.
Well, I think that I had
but,
a Texas.
You carry around a bunch of punch cards,
and
that was your program. And so I've been at it for a long time. It's amazing how much it's changed over the years. I think, I celebrated 52 years yesterday. So 36 of those, 35, something like that, have been playing with a computer.
Very cool. Very cool. And then on to Bradley University. Talk about that experience.
Great experience at Bradley. Also did some computer work at Bradley with a little entrepreneurial selling computers and building computers and things like that. And then left there and went to Chicago to work for Chemical Waste Management doing programming. And while I was on that job up there, that's when I started the first internet business up there.
And what was that business?
It was called Worldwide Wheels.
Okay.
And the idea was it was when the internet had first gotten started. And we had cars for sale throughout the Chicagoland area. I was a pretty big car buff. Really enjoyed looking at the Sunday paper and all the cars that were for sale in that paper. The Chicago Tribune had about 5,000 cars for sale at any given time in the Sunday paper. And we just a 3-line ad, no pictures. There's got to be a better way to do this. Mm-hmm. So I used some of my computer background to begin to photograph cars in Chicago and put those on the internet. And business went really well. It took a little while getting started because people didn't really know what the internet was capable of. I remember dealers telling me, this is a fad, this is not going to work. But after 4 or 5 years, I think we had 65,000 cars for sale on our website, and we eventually sold the business to autotrader.com and got to move back to Alton.
So was that the plan when you started the business? Like, I want to create a business, and then, or did you think this will be what I'll do? I mean,
I didn't build it to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
I built it because I enjoyed cars and because I enjoyed programming. Right. And as a programmer, it's fun to develop something and let people see it. And early on, you could take it to your boss and show them what you built, but that was about as far as you could go. You could show your friends or whatever. When the internet came around, I thought, this is really cool. I could show everybody. So I became attracted to the web, real fast, and began to build things on there, and then it just kind of mushroomed after that.
It's a really great success story. You think about how we all shop for cars now. It's almost, at least it always starts with picking up your phone or a computer.
You got to get online, whether you do it on your phone. That's the other neat thing is that we have in our favor is internet is everywhere now, or certainly working on that. People have it in their phone, they have it on their watch, they have it on their TV, they have it everywhere. So we keep getting more and more entrenched in this technology. The Riverbend area is a little bit slower accepting that technology, so it took us a little while when I started riverbender.com. It took a little bit longer than I had hoped for it to become a household name that we are today. People were slow to make that change.
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't understand the technology, or maybe didn't have updated computers and their connection was slow, or whatever the case may be. So the first several years of our business were tough because of that difference in where the people in the Riverbend were versus where they were in Chicago.
Sure, a little bit different community.
Yeah, totally different technology-wise. And even the Midwest in general, so much further behind than the East and West Coast. So it took a little longer to get ramped up. But I feel like now we're things are moving pretty smoothly.
It's amazing when you look back over just 13 years. That's not an extremely long
Doesn't seem like forever, but in the computer world,
it's changed so much in 13 years. Just when you started, if there was Facebook, it wasn't something we were all using every day.
No, wasn't Facebook when I started. Instagram or Snapchat, which is another something I didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of
maybe people were talking about MySpace back then.
Yes, exactly. We had a database of local area bands who had MySpace pages, and if you wanted to go to our website and look up local bands, you would see a directory of all their pages on MySpace. So yeah, it's changed. And that's one of the challenging things about our business is you wake up tomorrow and there's a new competitor, there's some totally different technology, and you have to just evolve so quickly. It's really a struggle to adapt that quickly.
I've always thought of you, though, as you've always kind of struck me as somebody who really enjoys it kind of being like that, because obviously just some of the stories, you've always been innovating.
I don't know. I'm getting to the stage where I would like it to slow down a little bit, but it's not going to.
What type of student were you? I'm curious.
Terrible. Yeah.
Probably because I'm betting because your mind.
I hope my kids aren't watching this, but yeah, it was terrible.
I'm betting it's because your mind's just always working. It seems like you're always thinking about you're always innovating and thinking about the next thing.
I just didn't like to study. As the bottom line,
easier explanation.
I was just terrible with studying. I would go home and work on motorcycles or cars or whatever, play on the computer, but the English paper and the foreign languages and all the other stuff is not my strong suit.
So where did Riverbender start out physically?
Started out in the basement, like all good internet companies.
Sure, right.
We had basement that would accommodate, I think we had 6 or 7 employees whenever we finally moved out of the basement. There's a little in-law suite there at the house, and that's where everybody reported to work. And it got to the point where there were too many cars in the driveway, and I wasn't ready for work, but everybody else was. Being a computer guy, you're always up late, and everybody, they
You are a night owl. I've gotten some late night emails from you. I'm like, John, I'm asleep, man.
Yeah, I'd like to sleep in a little bit longer. Everybody's just knocking on the door to get in. But,
So
and then I went from the basement to a 7-story building downtown, which was one heck of a jump in real estate, and just a whole lot of other things on my plate, which is some of the challenges today. We have the building down there, which houses the computer store.
Mm-hmm.
It houses riverbender.com, and then there's also the Riverbender Community Center. So there's besides everything going on downtown, there's still rental property, and there's still a big house to take care of and kids to take care of. So trying to figure out how to manage all that is a challenge.
Quite a juggling act. Talk a little bit about the community center and how it got started.
The community center has been a really cool project, very rewarding project, extremely challenging, more so than I thought it would be. But the neat thing about it, I don't think I could have pulled that off in Chicago. But in our small town, people are more friendly, more generous. Everybody in town. So several years after I started the business, but not long after I bought the building, I decided that, I bought the building with the intention to start the community center. And Riverbender had probably gotten to 100 or so, 150 customers at the time. And I reached out to those customers and said, I've got a vision to build a teen center in our town for the kids. Would you help me? And I reached out to our customer base, and nearly every person I talked to, in fact, I can't think of any that said no. Some did a smaller gift, but most said, what do you need? And they really helped. And that's it's a pretty rewarding, pretty satisfying thing to know that there's so many people in our town that are willing to help if you have a vision that you want to get done and you're in it for the right reasons. So we had carpet donated, games donated, sofas, couches for the movie theater, just everything that you could imagine. And really my job was to just kind of put it together, talk to all the people, share the vision, do a lot of the construction at work or at night, because I'm still trying to balance that and Riverbender, the for-profit business, at the same time. Some people get confused between the difference between the for-profit and the non-profit business, but I'm not employed by the community center. I'm just a volunteer there. We have an executive director, Jeff Alsman.
Yeah.
He's doing a great job. So it's been fun. I don't know exactly, I've lost track, but 40, 50,000 kids probably through the doors of that place since its inception, and it looks like it. We just started doing some remodeling, but it's tough to keep it together when there's that much traffic through there.
But you've really added a lot of amazing, I guess, for lack of a better word, toys to play with.
It helps that I'm a big kid.
I was going to say, is that
heart.
just for the kids, or is that for the...
We have our Christmas party there, so I'm a fan of Guitar Hero and skee ball, and I've been on the climbing wall and all that kind of stuff. I've got my eyes on some games that I'd love to get, but they're really expensive. We've got virtual reality and other things like that for the kids, but it's been fun, and it's all volunteer run with the exception of our executive director. And our parties are managed by Daniel Nase, who does a great job. It's been there a long time.
Let's go back to riverbender.com because that was the the original business, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the biggest challenge in that space for you going forward over the next 5 to 10 years?
They're trying to figure out what's coming next. I
Mm-hmm.
think is always a challenge. Facebook's been around since 2004. Seems to be here to stay. Even though the younger audience doesn't go to Facebook, they go to Snapchat and Instagram and other places. But really trying to figure out who we're going to be competing with tomorrow is always a challenge. When I started the business, I kind of thought, our core competitor is going to be the newspaper, and it was in the beginning, but it keeps changing.
Mm-hmm.
And so developing different ways to make sure that we're in front of the people all the time. I'm very fortunate and proud of the fact that I think we're at about 250,000, 250,000 people each month, unique visitors to the website that come there for news and sports and entertainment. So how to keep that trend going is it's kind of tough, where you go try to figure out where you get new extra visitors from, because you as you sell more advertisers, this, you need more listeners, or you need more visitors, or whatever the case may be, to help that work
Sure.
out. A little bit of balancing act. So.
Right. Well, we certainly appreciate our partnership together that we've had over the years.
It's really been a great partnership.
I agree, and you really exemplify everything a small business owner should be in the community. And
Well, thank you.
thanks for all your efforts, and thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. I've enjoyed it.
Thanks, John.
Okay.
Thanks for watching the Business Over a Brew podcast. For more video of me drinking free beer with some of the Riverbend's most interesting and influential business leaders, visit AltonDailyNews.com and click on the podcast page. To enjoy a great meal with great food, great service, and great atmosphere, visit Great Rivers Tap and Grill inside the Best Western Premier in Alton. Check out some of their new menu items at GreatRiversTapandGrill.com.